All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to our Monday night live stream. Of course, on the other monitor, I am watching this overtime. Absolute mess of a game between the Denver Broncos and Los Angeles Chargers, but I went ahead and already scheduled today's stream for 8:15 because I thought, maybe we'd go ahead and see the Chargers close this game out, or vice versa, with a field goal either way. But now we're going to have to suffer watching Russ, quote unquote, cook for the next 10 minutes here and see what the heck comes of this game. Either way, for the next hour plus, I will be here answering waiver wire questions, any, ranking questions, rest of season questions for fantasy football related stuff. If you guys have a question, please be sure to, in the chat, let me know what your scoring format is in regards to a specific player. If you're going to make a trade, give me a little bit of context as to what the rest of your team looks like. All that kind of jazz would be greatly appreciated in the long term. All right, so I know many of you are probably watching the game as well. I'm going to just, hang out here for a little bit. If you guys have questions, I'll answer stuff while I watch the game on the other monitor. But either way, Nick, how you doing? David Ramos, hope you're doing well, my man. TJ, how's it going? Cameron Jordan says, woof, woof. What's up, big dog? How you doing? Alec, the legend rises. Oh, yes, the legend rises from his couch as he arrives here to live stream for you all. Murray Stock, like a rocket sheep, says Joey Bravo. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was a matter of let's wait and see what tonight's game kind of provides us, and it has obviously provided us the fact that Melvin Gordon maybe, I don't know, is going to be traded. Like, I don't understand exactly what is going on there. But Latavius Murray seems to be the guy that they want to go ahead and use in the running game. And if that's going to continue to be the case, of course, at this point, he could very easily be the number one waiver wire option in the given week, assuming, of course, he's still available in comparison to last week, which many of us went after him anyway. Let's see here. What happened to Melvin Gordon? I don't know. I think the coach just hates him, low-key. I mean, at this point, it could be injury related. We don't know, right? We knew he was coming into the game with a neck injury and a rib injury, but from the way that it looks, his frustration that he's kind of visibly showing when they pan over to him on the sideline, it just seems to me that we have a scenario here where they're not playing him. That some guy just got ran over on the sideline there. Joseph said, traded a 2023 first round pick for Tyreek Hill. How did I do? It depends, right? Is that going to be an early or late first round pick? How much does Tyreek Hill potentially help you in the current season? Is he going to help you win a championship? If that's what we're going for specifically in that kind of a format, dynasty keeper, then and we're able to capture said championship, then it's worth it. But in the end, it's a matter of, where that first round pick will kind of end up next year. Colby Green says, what's up, Kirchhoff? Hope you're doing well, Colby. Thank you. Need this game to end? Yeah, many of us need the game to end. Many of us need the game to, result in multiple touchdowns one way or the other. But we'll see. What do we got here? Eckler's running the ball again. Come on, Eckler. Go score a touchdown for everybody. TJ says, should I trade Dalvin Cook, Rondell Moore, and Tyler Higbee for Nick Chubb and Kenneth Walker? TJ, it's a matter of what you have in terms of tight end. Like, if you're willing to give up Tyler Higbee, I'm 100% willing to make that trade. Absolutely. I think Nick Chubb has more value than Dalvin Cook. And at this point, I think Kenneth Walker may have more value than Rondell Moore and Tyler Higbee combined. So going forward, yeah, we're 100% taking that deal. Again, if you're going to have to start like a lower end tight end going forward until we figure it out with somebody else, that's fine. Because again, like I mentioned today on my waiver wire episode, there's a lot of young tight ends there that could be of value going forward. Obviously, majority of them are probably not going to pan out, but you could get lucky and find something of value there. DeAndre Carter with a nice little catch there. Tiago says, hey, Andrew, Kenneth Walker rest of the season? I mean, he looked good, man. He looked real good. The fact that the offense really was kind of stuttering for majority of the day for the Seahawks really did benefit him. Obviously, the fact that there was no production from Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf that continued to solidify the fact that they had to continue to run the ball. And when they did so, of course, we've already talked about it all offseason. The amount of videos I did just saying, please draft Kenneth Walker in the 10th round. They're all duly noted there. So obviously I'm happy about what he's kind of progressing into here. How, oh my God, did he make that catch? What an incredible grab. I don't think his toes were in though. Penguin says, all right, Pierre says, yo, Andrew, how's it going, Pierre? Thank you for joining us, Thomas. Year 5, what's up, man? Thomas, you've been here for that long, huh? How about that? We got to check your logs. Let's see how long you've really been here for. If it's been 5 years, then thank you for the support. I mean, that's incredible. Penguin says, what happened to Mike Williams? Patrick Surtain happened to Mike Williams. Also, the fact that Herbert won't throw the ball farther than 11 yards down the field. That is another considering factor at this current moment. Is it worth picking up the New England defense over Denver? Just trying to cover for Buffalo week. Yeah, I'm 100% good with that. Again, Denver defense takes on, wow. I mean, Herbert just can't throw on the run. Denver defense takes on the Jets. The Jets have been pretty good at running the ball. Denver's been They've been okay at stopping the run. I think New England is absolutely the pickup of the week at the defensive position, taking on Justin Fields in that terrible Chicago Bears offense. Stone Draft, hope you're doing well. Greetings. Did Gordon get hurt? I mean, again, we're gonna figure that out after the game, because reporters are absolutely going to ask the head coach. They're going to potentially ask him in the locker room after said game. We may get more information in regards to that. So we'll see what happens. TJ says, I have Kyle Pitts. Yeah, TJ, make that trade. Absolutely then at that point. 100% make that trade. Should I trade Hollywood away since I have Hopkins? Well, look, so from what I read earlier today, the injury that he sustained after they went ahead and did an MRI isn't season ending. It would be a singular IR stint of 6 weeks. That's what's expected. It could be longer. Just depends on his recovery and the process in that. So as of right now, you could trade him away, but you have to obviously trade him away under the idea that he's not coming back until maybe even the fantasy playoffs. It'll probably be in that range of area. But you have Hopkins, which is super beneficial to your team. TJ also says you have Tunyon on waivers. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're good to go, TJ. Make that trade, absolutely. I was even considering it even if you had a garbage tight end, but the fact that you have those kind of options available to you, that makes it that much more, enticing to make that trade, absolutely. Latavius Murray up the gut, no yards. Okay. Kate Otten, Daniel Bellinger, and Mike Gesicki are on my waivers. Need a streaming option. Who do you think is the best for this week? All right, so based on their upcoming matchups, of course, let's see here. Let's pull down this list so I can put that here. Boom. Okay. And then let me open up my Excel sheet just so we're all on the same page. So we have Miami this week taking on Pittsburgh. Typically, that's a good matchup for tight ends. Typically, especially this year and even last season, they've kind of struggled in that department. As for, you had who else? Daniel Bellinger. They play against Jacksonville. I mean, I don't mind that. If I had to trust one out of the group, I'm most likely thinking that Mike Gesicki, because I've seen him more, because he's not a rookie, he has more potential for upside, more potential for utilization within the offense. So if I was ordering it, it would go Gesicki into Bellinger into Otten for this week, even for just streaming options. Let's see here. Keep or drop Jay. Who's Jay? Melvin Gordon question mark. Completely AWOL. It's absolutely a travesty. Okay, Russell Wilson lets it rip. Jerry Jeudy not able to come down with it. Man, I need Jerry Jeudy to have 5 catches today so I can hit my Prize Picks entry. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out Prize Picks, if you want to play more fantasy, potentially, get daily fantasy in your life in regards to potentially a Monday night, Thursday night football game, Sunday night, potentially the whole slate, you can go ahead and check that out. There's a link down in the description. When you check that out and use promo code Andrew, you'll be given a first-time deposit match upwards. It's a deposit match upwards of $100. So if you deposit 20, you'll get matched 20. If you deposit 100, you get matched 100. That'll be the max. So for those of you interested, check that out. There have been so many punts today. It's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it is what it is. That's just the Denver Broncos. That's how they play. All right, Kelly was saying keep or drop. Oh, Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I'm willing to keep him. Unless you have something, Kelly, that is immediately going to make an impact for your team. Perhaps you're in a scenario where you can't risk having him on your bench. You want to go ahead, pick up somebody else, give them a shot. I'm okay doing that, but ultimately, yeah, I feel comfortable enough keeping him. I know Carson Wentz is out probably 4 to 6 weeks, so that's going to be a question as to whether or not Heineke is comfortable with Jahan Dotson, but Jahan Dotson is probably going to miss another 2-3 weeks himself. So if you need someone to fill in for waivers, then yes, he needs to be dropped. Christian, what's up, man? Says, I traded D-Hop and Damian Harris for Swift in a standard league. My wide receiver room is, okay, so let's see here. So your running back room currently is DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, and Algier. What's my waiver wire for this week? Your waiver wire priority, in my opinion, probably goes Latavius Murray number 1, followed by Kenyon Drake number 2, if those guys are available. If they are, probably those are the 2 running backs that I would like to make. Pick them up, kind of get your running back room kind of in a better position. I'd honestly even feel just as comfortable dropping Algier for Caleb Huntley, because I know Caleb Huntley has a little bit more potential upside down on the goal line in comparison. But that would be my initial suggestion in terms of how to kind of fix this going forward. Nathan Gutierrez, how you doing, Nathan? Hope you're doing well. Hey, Andrew, should I trade Mixon for Pittman and Hall? I would. I have Najee Harris. We have Damian Harris. We have Zeke. What do you think of this trade, Andrew? I have Godwin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we have Keenan Allen. I mean, at this point, how many wide receivers can you start in this league, Nathan? That's I think, my initial most important question. How many wide receivers can you start? So how many like primary wide receiver starters are there? 3 or 2? And then follow up, how many flex options can you start in a given week, right? If you could start maybe 2 flex options in a given week, that may make it a little bit more enticing to make this deal. But if you can let me know, I'm going to scroll down and I'll see what you have to say, Nathan. Thank you. Carl says, what do you think about Akers' defense this week? What do you think of Akers' defense this week? Akers? Like Cam Akers? Is that who we're talking about? Who are we talking about? Carl, who are you talking about? Dominic says, yo, should I trade Mixon and Debo for Dalvin Cook and Mike Evans? Sorry. Should I trade Debo for Dalvin and Mike Evans for Mike Williams? Aha, now I understand. I would do Debo for Dalvin. Absolutely. As for Mike Evans for Mike Williams, I'm also enticed in that as well. So I'll take both those. Wait. Dalvin and Evans and Michael. Wait, I'm so. Oh, it's Mixon, dude. I'm completely blind. My bad, Dominic. Should I trade Mixon and Debo for Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, and Mike Williams? At that point, yeah, I'm okay with that. If you need the wide receiver depth, I think that's a absolutely great option for you there going forward. I don't mind that. Yeah. Thomas says, 5 years strong. Still remember the player who shall not be named. There you go, my man. There it is. Okay, look, there you go. That's all you got to do. If you mention that, Thomas, you are welcomed into the membership club. Thank you very much. Go ahead and take a seat. We'll get your drink in a moment. Pierre says, who should I start? Who should I pick up in a waiver wire? Tua, Cousins, or Dak? If I'm looking for future weeks in terms of overall potential, I prefer Dak over the bunch. Second, in my opinion, would be Cousins, and third would be Tua. Thank you. Let's see here. Venice says, Guy wants Walker and Singletary for Derrick Henry. I have plenty of RBs and don't need Singletary. Yeah, I would make that trade. Absolutely. Give away Walker, give away Singletary. Let me have Derrick Henry the rest of the way. John says, who are the top 7 waiver wire pickups for running back? Well, today, right, we had a list of 6 players. So I would just go ahead and I would just add Latavius Murray to the front. So we go Latavius Murray, then follow that up with Kenyon Drake. Number 3 would probably be Deion Jackson, under the assumption that maybe Taylor or Hines miss another week. And then we also move on to another week where we have, or another player. Honestly, Mike Boone is not a bad option. And then we go to Gus Edwards, Kieran Williams, Donta Foreman, guys that are, stashes for future weeks. TJ says, okay, thanks very much. I was receiving mixed views on Nick Chubb. What do you mean you were receiving mixed views? So, yeah, I mean, okay, moving on. Dumpstered says, I have Hurts as my starting quarterback. Have Goff as my next backup. Okay. Should I pick up Dak off of the waiver wire and start him if he plays this week? Yes, I would. I would rather play Dak against the Lions than Goff versus the Cowboys. So yes, I would love to play Dak there if he's, again, going to play. Nick Graham says, David Montgomery is on my waivers. That's fantastic. Let's go pick him up. Should I drop Curtis Samuel? Yes, absolutely drop Curtis Samuel for him. Probably won't use either, to be honest. I got Cook, Chubb, and Pierce. Yeah, I think even if you're not going to utilize him in this given week, we know that there's injuries and or bye weeks that are, ahead of us. So we want to prepare for those by bringing up and bolstering our roster with the best possible talent. And worst case scenario, once you get David Montgomery, maybe somebody comes asking for a running back and you can trade him over and potentially improve your roster that way. So yeah, absolutely make that pickup, Nick. Thank you. James Johnson says, better stash Alec Pierce or Khalil Herbert. I have Pierce, but I have so many rookies. I have Jameson Williams, I have Garrett Wilson, I have Drake London. Thinking of trading Khalil Herbert. Yeah, I mean, at this point, Khalil Herbert only benefits when we have a guarantee of David Montgomery out with injury. As of right now, it looks like David Montgomery's back and good to go. So yeah, I'm okay picking up Alec Pierce. I know you got a lot of rookie options. Some of them not producing, mainly Garrett Wilson and London, but those are rookies right there. I mean, especially rookies in run first offenses. That's what the main problem is. James, okay, so thank you very much, James. Appreciate it. Do you think Hopkins is a must start this week or every week? Yes, I absolutely believe that. With Marquise Hollywood-Brown down with an injury, I think DeAndre Hopkins going forward is most likely top 12 every single week, or has the upside of top 12 every single week. Whether he reaches that is obviously going to be a matter of whether or not Kyler Murray can get him the ball and all this kind of stuff, and whether or not DeAndre Hopkins at his current age, how long he's been in the league, is still at his higher end of production. I'm expecting him to be at that higher end. As long as the opportunity is there, we're in a good spot. P.S. Drew says, Waddle and Dalvin Cook for Devontae Adams. I would rather have Waddle and Dalvin Cook in a PPR rest of the season. Thank you. TJ says, once I get Chubb and Walker, my lineup will be Josh Allen, Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Kyle. I mean, listen, that's as good as it gets, TJ. That'd be a fantastic roster to have. Rob, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Dominic says, what happened to Melvin Gordon tonight? Melvin Gordon went completely AWOL on us. As to why, we're going to figure that out in the coming weeks. Again, I'm going to assume that the case is most likely the team just not wanting to play him, or he's injured. Now, the issue is the last time we saw him get benched was because he fumbled. He didn't fumble today. So I'm not 100% certain as to why they wanted to just not play him in some sort of capacity. But there is a possibility that the injury, he was dealing with a neck and rib injury earlier this week, that could be a leading factor. I would probably point towards that, but not 100% certain. There's a reason why on Sunday morning, if you guys remember, I moved Melvin Gordon down a pretty, and the field goal is up and the field goal is good. The week is over. The Chargers win. Congratulations to the Chargers. Let's go, baby. Even with a hurt kicker, comes in clutch today. Anyway, like I was saying, in regards to Melvin Gordon, we're going to get more information on it as tomorrow kind of gets closer. Obviously, we're going to get information in terms of the post-game press conference. But for right now, doesn't look great, especially if it's not an injury problem. If it's not an injury problem, I expect Melvin Gordon to be fighting coaches like Robbie Anderson did yesterday and trying to get himself traded next week. Moving on, Phil says, I should have put Pittman in for Williams. This week, Williams was super disappointing. Yeah, Williams was disappointing, but we have to understand, right? Like when we're talking about the potential of a player, that is in most circumstances why we play certain stud players, right? We know Mike Williams is a very talented player. Yes, we know that his matchup is difficult. It's just a matter of, okay, we have to, take the risk of, do we want to sit Mike Williams? Maybe he goes for 25 on our bench, or do we want to play a Michael Pittman Jr. who wasn't as consistent and still has himself a relatively, average matchup, right? It was all a matter of risk versus reward and the potential there. But yeah, hindsight 2020, Phil. Tyler says, I need 2 points from Herbie. I mean, I don't know if we got it there. Unfortunately, I don't think we got it. Herbie has looked awful this year. I mean, I don't know what this offense has been doing, but it is what it is. What should I do with Chase Edmonds? I have him stashed, but I have a good running back core. Honestly, I would have dropped him a couple weeks ago. That's what I've done in a couple of my leagues. After the following week, after that Thursday night football game against Cincinnati. So Thursday night, I think was at the end of week 5, I dropped him. So across the board. I don't know if I have him in any leagues. So, I mean, that's just what I do. Obviously, I like going and picking up players and just taking risks off of flyers, but you can approach it differently. You can keep him and see, if he could pan out in the next couple weeks here. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see here. Should I look to trade away Aaron Jones? To be honest, I don't know how much value you're going to be able to get out of him. At this point, I'm looking to trade for Aaron Jones more than anything. because I know this offense is going to have to eventually get back to running the ball. I don't know why they have strayed so far away from it, but we'll see. Murray says deserved his own backfield years ago. I mean, here's the thing about Latavius Murray. He did have his own backfield years ago. That was with the Raiders, and he was actually really good there. And then he went to Minnesota. He played well while Dalvin Cook was injured that the year after Dalvin Cook came back from his ACL. And then he went to the Saints and honestly still looked good there. Then went to the Ravens last year, looked good there, right? So he's been good. It's just a matter of he's bounced around a lot of places, which hasn't really given him much fantasy upside. So we haven't really paid attention to him much over the last couple of years outside of a handcuff option, which at this point he's kind of stepping up as such. Am I dropping Chase Edmonds and Elijah Moore? Yeah, I would. I'm perfectly fine with that, T. Let's see here. Kapal says, I have Henry, Chubb, Kenneth Walker, and Dameon Pierce. Who should I start next week? We'll get there tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow's video will encapsulate that entire scenario, okay, my man? Chargers just muffed the punt at the 15-yard line in overtime. Yep. I mean, listen, it is what it is. I think you meant the Broncos muffed the punt, right? Let's see here. Will you do a trade for/away video soon? Your last one was very helpful. Yeah, Carl, I'll probably do one on Thursday. Most likely on Thursday. Most likely. Thank you. I get Chris Godwin. He gets Mike Williams. Do I do it? If you're playing in a full PPR scoring format, Phil, I don't mind it. Otherwise, I'd probably say keep Mike Williams. Let's see here. Gravediggin says, I traded Lazard and Deontay Johnson for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Good trade. Yeah, I love that trade. Good to go there. I have no problems with that in any capacity. Let's see here. Wait, what? Okay, hold up. Sorry, it updated and the chat moved down a little bit. Let me see if I can see. Okay. Is Brandon Ayuk for David Njoku good? My tight end is Conklin. Yeah, I'm fine with that. David Njoku's been relatively consistent this year. Chris Godwin is on waivers, and Angel, pick that guy up immediately. Number one waiver, rip it, get it done. But why is he on waivers? Someone dropped him? Maybe it was an accidental drop. I don't know why that would happen. Sorry, typo earlier. What do you think about the Jets defense? They're a waiver wire pickup for this week. They were included in my video. I mean, they've been playing really well and against good football teams. So why not go ahead and lean in the direction of most likely looking to pick them up and play them in fantasy. So my two current starters are Godwin and Amon-Ra St. Brown this week. I only have one flex in the league, and it was McKenzie. So do you think it's a good idea? Keep in mind, I also have Thielen and Keenan Allen. Let me scroll back up to your question, Nathan, just to make sure I have the full context before I get... Okay, so this was a matter of trade Mixon for Pittman and Hall. And we already have these said players. Again, at this moment, I am perfectly fine making the trade going forward. Because at this point, I think Hall is in the same region of value that Mixon has. And I think just adding Pittman to your team just makes it that much more of a, I guess, solidified team up and down the board. Let me see here. Okay, where are we at? What do you think about Reynolds and Chark when Jameson returns? I have no idea what Chark's going to do. I'm perfectly fine with Reynolds. But I think once, in fact, Jameson Williams finds his stride, Reynolds is gone. Dallas or Green Bay defense next week. If I'm picking one between the two, who does Green Bay play? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Washington. They're going to have Heineke, and to be honest, Green Bay's defense has looked awful this year. They've got a pretty decent pass rush. Rashawn Gary is an actual monster, probably all-pro this year. But outside of that, nothing really enticing. So I would play the Cowboys, honestly. What do you think? Okay, so that okay. Do you give up on Schultz or keep stashing him? At this point, I've already given up. Again, a lot of the players that we're mentioning today, I've dropped last week. And yeah, I'm fully out on. Let's see here. Phil says, I get God. Okay, so we did that one. Moving back down here. Again, so for those of you who are joining us after this absolutely terrible Monday Night Football game, welcome. Again, for the next hour plus here, we'll be answering fantasy football related questions for week 7. Of course, if you have questions regarding potential starter sits, I would say let's hold that for Thursday night stream and or Saturday stream and or Sunday stream. Because again, I still got to go do a lot of film watching and a lot of research for week 7. So I can't give you the most accurate answer as of right now. But if we want to talk about potential trades, potentially talk about some waiver wire pickups going into week 7, we can absolutely help you guys out there. And that's exactly what I'm here for. So thank you for joining us. If you guys have not yet already, of course, click the like button. It would greatly help this channel out a lot on a weekly basis. Clicking that like button is the biggest difference maker in terms of helping this channel grow. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. So let's see here. Let me go back up. So we did Carl. Yes, we're going to do that. Okay. I'm 5-1. Just traded Devontae, but that was before Hollywood went down. Okay. I still have a really good team. I'm just not sure if I should use Devontae to recover some depth. Should I just write it out? Who are your other wide receivers? Like that's the main question, because we know Devontae Adams is not going to have a bye week going forward. So as long as he stays healthy, he'll be fine. But going forward at this point, I'm thinking to myself, what's your other wide receiver options and what kind of depth you have for the future? Christian says, I improved my team. Who should I trade? Burrow, Dalvin, Swift, AJ Brown, Waddle, Higgins, Goddard, London, Rashad White, Algier. All right, so at this point, I think Algier is droppable. Going forward, Burrow's fine, Cook's fine, Swift is fine, AJ Brown is fine, Waddle's fine, Higgins is fine, Goddard's fine, London is eh. So at this moment, I think Algier's droppable. I keep the rest of this team as intact. London, we're just going to have to wait and see what he does. He's probably a guy that we ride on the bench until we can find some consistency out of him. But just leave it as such going forward. Lost by 0.8 because of Boone. Never got touched. What do you mean? Oh, okay. I know what you mean. Like as in like you were playing against Boone and he got some yardage. That's what I'm assuming you meant. Let's see here. Percy96 says, I started Herbert, Gordon, and Judy, and they all gave me 17 points. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, you would have thought that this game of all the games this year would have been a little, at some points, right? Today would have been a little bit of a higher scoring game. That's what you would have thought, right? Because both defenses are they're not great. But it is what it is. That's just fantasy. It's tough. Is Hopkins a wide receiver 1 now? I think he is, Julian. I think he has absolute wide receiver 1 upside. We'll know by Wednesday, but I mean, I could tell you right now, off the top of my head, I'm probably having Hopkins within that top 15 conversation at wide receiver. As to whether he's a top 12 remains to be seen, but there's a very good chance that he is in my eyes, maybe even top 10. Especially if Marshawn Lattimore does not play against the Saints on Thursday. Y'all, what do we do with Hollywood? Put him on the injured reserve. Wait 6 weeks and then get him when the fantasy playoffs come back around. Do I use my number 1 waiver on Kenyon Drake? Depends what your running backs are, Savior. Mike Williams and Michael Gallup for Najee Harris and Gabe Davis. Good, question mark. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Should I trade Aaron Jones for Sanders? I would like to keep Aaron Jones, but if you want to go ahead and make that trade, that is completely your prerogative. I would prefer to keep Aaron Jones going forward. Let's see here. I have Henry, Chubb, Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce. If I have to start a couple of these guys this week, let me think here. Chubb plays against Baltimore. I'm fine with that. I'm playing him. Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce. I'm playing Pierce against Las Vegas. I don't have a problem with that. Kenneth Walker takes on... Oh, dude. Could we start all 4 of them? How about that? Again, tomorrow we'll have the full answer to that, just like I mentioned before, so don't worry. You'll get the full context of my answer. Russell Wilson's garbage. Mario, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, let's see. A couple more comments here. Before I don't want to skip anybody. Drop Boone and pick up Latavius Murray. Yes. Ahmed, absolutely. That's what I would do. Sweezy says, I got offered Jonathan Taylor and Devonta Smith for Ramondre and D-Hop. Currently 4-2. Yeah, I'll take that. Give me JT and Devonta the rest of the season there. Will says, Andrew, I won by 0.3 this week off the very last throw that Justin Herbert made. Congratulations. Well, I did nothing there. That was all you. Congrats. Let's see here. Hoodie says, you would drop Chase Edmonds even with Mostert injury history. Yeah. Because the issue that I have with that entire backfield is that even when we think, okay, if Raheem Mostert is, especially if, in fact, Raheem Mostert is to potentially go down, okay? If it happens, we would assume, okay, Chase Edmonds comes in, gets all the work. Is it a guarantee? What if Miles Gaskins comes in there and starts taking touches, right? That's the biggest concern. Now, if you want to hold, you can hold. It's a handcuff. It's just like the same thing of holding Khalil Herbert or holding Jalen Warren. It's the same idea. You're not going to play these guys in a given week, but they're handcuffed. So if you want to handcuff that, by all means, go for it. Let's see here. I traded Pitts and Cooks for Mark Andrews. Thoughts? I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, so I'm a little bit indecisive as to whether or not I like that. What should I do to improve my team? I have Hurts, Eckler, Gordon. Okay, well, Gordon's done, skinny. Higgins, Mike Williams, Pitts, Higbee. So at this point, considering you have Kyle Pitts and Higbee, you got to move one of them. Considering you have Ayuk and Samuel, you got to move one of them. And then you probably got to move Melvin Gordon. So I'm thinking we package a deal here with Ayuk and maybe one of those tight ends and go get another running back. That's my thoughts at this moment. Opinion on Montgomery and Jeff Wilson Jr. for Aaron Jones. I'll take that. Give me Aaron Jones. I'm not even kidding. Jeff Wilson Jr. is going into the garbage disposal after Elijah Mitchell returns. And if we're talking about Montgomery versus Aaron Jones, it's not even close. I'd rather have Aaron Jones. Even if I would be willing to, die on the hill of Aaron Jones is going to outscore David Montgomery rest of the season. If you're, of that opinion, then yeah, you go with that as well. Looks like the Broncos running backs is going to be Latavius Murray. Huh, Andrew? Yep, absolutely. That's what it looks like. Should I bench Christian Kirk from now? I have Gabe, Sutton, Keenan Allen, Pierce, and Boyd. Yeah. At this point, we're going to go ahead and just wait on him, see what the heck he does for the next couple weeks before we kind of get back on the train. Cam says, Rodgers is killing my team this year. Is Watson my savior? No. Because by the time you get to Watson, your season will be over if Rodgers is killing you. I mean, listen, you shouldn't have ever drafted Rodgers. I mean, this is obviously hindsight 2020. I think I had Rodgers this offseason ranked as like my number 15 quarterback. Obviously, I had a lot lesser guys ahead of him like Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, but still, the assumption that without a number one stud wide receiver is, of course, that we're going to see Aaron Rodgers struggle. And that's exactly what we've witnessed over the last couple of weeks. I need to turn on the air conditioning, guys, if you don't mind, because these lights are smoking me. Like, I am literally air frying in here. All right, let's turn on this little bit of air here just to kind of mix it up a little bit. All right, a couple of you sent in donations. We're going to go ahead and address these right now. I appreciate you guys sending in donations. Do not feel obligated to do so. I'm going to try to answer everyone's question as we go throughout today's stream. But again, if you want to go ahead, get priority in terms of your question being answered, you can go ahead and send those in, or you can go ahead and check out the Patreon. There's a link down in the description if you go ahead and travel there. $10 a month. I'll answer unlimited questions. We have, weekly rankings posted on Thursday afternoons and Sunday mornings for those of you who want all my rankings half and full PPR. So if you're interested, check that out. Thank you. All right, Thomas says, trade Christian McCaffrey for Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jacobs. I mean, at this point, if you're in need of depth, right, you need multiple players to help you out, let's go for it, right? Because we know that Christian McCaffrey's 20 points. But if this guy's going to be 15 and this guy's going to be 15, at the end of the day, this may help you to have Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jacobs going forward. So yeah, I'm okay with that deal. Do you think Wan'Dale Robinson will become the number one for New York? You know what, Will? Probably. But the only issue I have is what is the number one of New York really valued at? It's not a pass-first offense. It's not a pass-friendly offense. And quite frankly, if he comes away with a touchdown, yes, he's going to be relevant. But if he doesn't score touchdowns, will he be enough for fantasy purposes? Most likely not. Let's see here. I need 13 points from Herbie. Was really disappointed. Yeah, how many points did Herbie get? Let me see here. I know what he did in a 6-point per passing touchdown league, but I'm not 100% certain as to what he did in a... Where the heck is he? Herbie in a... Wow. He didn't have more than 10 points? Yo, he didn't throw a touchdown today. Bruh. Yeah, guys, I'm with you. That is disappointing. Whew. What's up, Andrew? Hope you're doing well there, Gonzalez. Dak Prescott or Mariota? Give me Dak. Yeah, if he's available, let me have him. What do I do with Marquise Brown? Leave him on the waivers. Sorry, leave him on the injured reserve. I said waivers. My apologies. T says, I just tried to trade Najee Harris and Zach Ertz, and Najee for Zach Ertz and D-Hop, and got declined. He tried to offer D-Hop for Najee. Is it worth it? If you're playing in a PPR league, I would say I'm willing to take Najee rest of the season. Or, full PPR. Look, here's the thing. Full PPR, sorry, I meant to say D-Hop rest of the season, not Najee. If it's a full PPR, I think I'm willing to make that deal. If it's a half PPR, I might stay with Najee Harris just on the glimpse of hopes that maybe he pulls it together. But in a full PPR, I think I'm already moving on from Najee. Sleepy says, hey, Andrew, very sad week. Lost by 3 because of Mike Williams. Yep. I mean, listen, it is what it is. It is tough. Obviously, I'm going to try to get better over the weeks. You guys know that. When I give picks, obviously this goes it goes unsaid because I think it's an unspoken thing that maybe I don't have to mention, but I will mention just, for you guys to hear it. Every time I suggest someone as a player and they do not play well, trust me, I'm the one who hurts more inside. You may be like, man, I lost this week, I feel like crap. Trust me, I'm the one who feels like even more garbage. Okay, so we're trying to improve every single week. Obviously, try to avoid those terrible situations. But man, who would have guessed that this entire offense gets nullified just outright and has to kick field goals with a broken kicker the whole game, huh? I trade Jonathan Taylor for Amon-Ra and Zeke. Nah, I would just keep Taylor at that point. Akers got dropped in my league. Should I pick him up and stash? Yes, Chris, you should. Is Melvin getting traded? Wow. I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded. I mean, who needs a running back? The Rams. Maybe he goes to the Rams. 1 year deal. Bada boom. How you doing? For like a 7th round pick. You never know. Looks like the Broncos are. Yep. Okay, we did that. All right. So Flipside Fishing says, should I pick up Cordero Patterson off waivers? Yeah, if he's available and you can stash him immediately onto your injured reserve, absolutely do that. Cheeseburger Eddie. It ain't easy being cheesy. I got the fries that'll cross your eyes. I got the shakes that'll make you quake. It says click the like button. Thank you very much. If you guys could, clicking the like button certainly does help out the channel out a major amount. So if you guys could do that for me, it'd be greatly appreciated. Let me go ahead. Let's see. There was a couple donations that were sent in other than the ones on screen. I just want to go ahead and immediately address those just so I'm not keeping y'all waiting. So outside of Flipside Fishing was Mr. Rodriguez. He said Montgomery and Jeff Wilson for Aaron Jones. I think we mentioned this. Yeah, I'll take the Aaron Jones side of that. And then Josh Helmuth sent in a question. Josh, hope you're doing well. Says PPR. We have a 6-point per passing touchdown. We have Mahomes/Sanders for Rodgers, Mixon, and Allen. Okay, so we're sending away Mahomes and we're getting Rodgers in return. My question is, how are you going to replace Rodgers? Because I'd love to get Mixon and Allen for Sanders. But the whole question now is a matter of what are we going to replace Rodgers with, Josh? If you could do me a favor, Josh, and just type in the chat what you have as another, exterior option, whether it is waivers or maybe another trade you can make, I'd be greatly appreciated to know. Thank you. Okay, let me go ahead and scroll back up here, try to catch up with y'all. Dak going to be an option over Herbert soon. What? Dak going to be... I would already assume that if Dak comes back and he's healthy and his thumb injury actually doesn't prevent him from being himself, Dak could very easily be top 5 upside at the quarterback position rest of the season. Very easily. Tua or Geno Smith in week 7. Tua plays, we talked about this earlier. They play against Pittsburgh, and then who does Geno's play? The Seattle Seahawks, they play against the Chargers. So it's a matter of who do I prefer this upcoming week? I don't love either, but I would most likely feel comfortable playing Tua there. Knox or Schultz, rest of the season PPR. I'd rather do Knox there, mainly because Schultz is dealing with an injury. And when there's an injury variable, it's really hard to predict potential. Phil says 8.42. Yeah, it's brutal. I'm officially giving up on fantasy now. I'm 0-6. Joseph, that is unfortunate to hear. Apologies if I was the reason why you've gotten to 0-6. It is what it is. I do want to mention, Joseph, if you only play one league and you only have one team, I would probably suggest looking to potentially, draft more teams throughout a year. Again, the offseason is long. The more teams you get, the more potential you have to, yes, avoid some of those teams where you have massive injuries, massive, terrible mistakes during a draft to where you can at least have somebody to root for later on. But hey, maybe you don't have those kind of options. There is, daily fantasy options, stuff like that, price picks, if you're interested, stuff like that. But if you're out, you're completely done, Joseph. Hopefully we can maybe turn you around and put together a 7-game winning streak. Otherwise, thank you for joining us this season. We'll see you next year, my man. Dude Sutton just needed 6 points. Come on. Yeah, Sutton was an absolute disappointment. But what can we, I was going to say, are we surprised? Yeah, I kind of am surprised, but at the same time, kind of not. It is the offense. They're just bad. I mean, I don't know what else to say. They're just bad at football. What do you think about Rondale Moore going forward? I think Rondale Moore is more valuable than Robbie Anderson. I'll tell you that. Brendan said, I just lost 108.5 to 108.3. Bruh, dude, every week, man. Every week somebody's losing like that. You just got, the bad end of the stick. That's brutal. Keenan Allen rest of the season, as well as Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas, I don't know what his deal is because I don't even know what the heck the extent of his injury is. I know it's a foot injury. Keenan Allen, I'm all in on, especially in a full PPR. I think he's got easily top 15 per week upside because it looks like, just off of watching these games, it looks like, Justin Herbert really misses Keenan Allen in this offense. Two people just tied in my league, 91.6. Who wins? Depends what your tiebreaker is. Typically, tiebreaker in some formats goes to bench points. In other formats, it's just a straight tie. And then in the final format, it would go to whoever scored the most points season wide. Hopefully, you guys have it in your league where it's just a straight tie and nothing is really worried. Are any of the Denver Broncos worth keeping? I would keep. I'd be willing to keep all of them just in case. Just in case. Because you never know. Because if they do move Melvin Gordon to a different team, let's say, for example, okay, theoretically, Melvin Gordon gets traded for Cam Akers, right? And they throw a pick onto Melvin Gordon. And Akers goes to Denver. Akers would be assumed to be the immediate starter, but we want to know before anything like that happens. You know what I mean? Before we drop, Latavius Murray or Boone or Gordon, before anything like that occurs. Drop Everett for Alec Pierce. I'm okay with that. If you don't need the tight end, I'm fine. One, because my opponent, Saquon, didn't score at the last run. Yeah, I mean, we all saw that. That was brutal. Let's see here. LOL had Cup on the 4th round keeper. Traded for Chase. Went Kamara, Saquon, Evans to start. That's a pretty good looking team there, Daniel. Drop Eli Moore for Tyquan Thornton. I'm perfectly fine with that. Elijah Moore didn't even see it. Did he? What do you have? One target? Maybe one, maybe two. DeAndre Hopkins West season. At this point, rest of season, he is easily a top 12, potential option. Someone in my league just lost by 0.22 points, but it's not because I like and subscribe. But it's not me because I like and subscribe. Thank you very much, Nick. Maybe you should tell him to like and subscribe to help him out. But I understand it's difficult to do so, guys. I get it. Moving on. Should I bench Aaron Jones for Kenneth Walker? I have Eckler too. At this point, they play against Washington. I don't mind benching him. I think it's a good matchup against Washington, but I don't mind benching him, and let's just kind of wait. All right, let's go ahead and scroll down to the bottom here. I got JJ and Cup on bye. Is Rondale Moore a good start? Yeah, I believe so. Absolutely. On a short week here, should be a good start. Ahmed says AJ Brown and Schultz for Sutton and Goddard. Good trade. Yeah, I think Sutton will be better as we progress, and Goddard will be as consistent as he has been. So I'm okay with that. I'm fine. Should I bench Aaron? Okay, we already did that one. Do you think? Okay, they all stink. Haha. Yeah. I mean, it really is. It really is really upset. I mean, it's crazy how bad the Broncos are in comparison to what we all thought they were going to be. And that's the whole thing, right? That's fantasy football. Expectation versus reality. Can we predict what is going to happen? And again, there are a lot of variables to take into account, some that are completely out of our control, and that is what determines our fates. You know what I mean? Nah, he can never know about this channel. Come on, my man. Oh, goodness. I get it. Dawson Knox versus the Packers or Mike Gesicki versus the Lions? Ooh, good question. I would probably lean in the direction of most likely saying Mike Gesicki there. Trade Jeff Wilson Jr. before Elijah Mitchell returns? Yes. Garrett Wilson droppable now? I would probably say no, but at this point, I don't blame you if you do it. AJ Brown or Amon-Ra St. Brown fantasy? I would rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown rest season. Let's see here. Should I bench Cooks for McLaurin and McLaurin for Myers and Lazard in week 7? I'm trying to think of who Cooks plays. He plays against Las Vegas, and then McLaurin plays against Green Bay. And then we have Myers against Chicago and Lazard versus Washington. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that swap. D-Hop is free. If D-Hop is free in your league, pick him up, please. Jamison Williams going to play? No clue. They haven't designated him to return from injury reserve yet, and that is the main factor as to whether or not we'll know for certain as to whether or not he's going to play. Thoughts on Brian Robinson rest of the season? I mean, he looked great. 17 rushing attempts is incredible. Those are the kind of numbers we want to see. That being said, very little PPR upside because he's not going to catch the ball out of the backfield and will most likely be heavily dependent on a rushing touchdown. With Carson Wentz gone, I think the effectiveness of this offense dips a little bit, but we'll see where it goes with Taylor Heineke going forward here. Traded JT for Mark Andrews and Mike Williams. Thoughts? I mean, I guess it depends what your running backs look like there, Joseph, because that is a tough trade to make in my eyes. For some reason, what does it say? Hold on, wait. Let me go back up. For some reason, people drop DJ Moore and Bateman. Bateman needs to be picked up. Who would you rather have? Who would you rather take as a flyer? Yeah, at this moment, I'd rather have Bateman, quite honestly. And then if I was taking a flyer between Dobbs and Thornton, I'd rather take it on Dobbs. Mainly because of the injury that was sustained by Randall Cobb this past weekend. Pickens and Taysom Hill at the flex. I got a lot of players on bye. Or Taysom Hill at the flex. Who do they even play this week? So it's an early Thursday game against Arizona for Taysom Hill, or Pickens going up against Miami. Oh, man. That's a tough question to answer, to be honest. Because at this point, I don't know if Taysom is a valuable enough option because I don't know who's starting on Thursday for the Saints. I don't know who their quarterback is. I don't know if the receivers are back. So that is a wait and kind of see what happens. Should I trade Taylor since he's not doing well right now? Taylor's just been injured. I mean, he'll come back and he'll be fine. But if you want to trade him, you can. But in my opinion, I think he'll get back on track. I'm not really too worried about it. Alrighty, let's see here. Is Kenyon Drake a must pick up off the waiver? I have Swift, Jacobs, Harris, Mostert, and Pollard. I don't believe with the team that you currently have constructed, you need to pick him up. But if you would like the extra running back depth, you absolutely could. But I don't think it's a must for your current scenario. I traded Mike Williams, Pittman, and Cook for Jacobs, Evans, and Chase last week. Congratulations. Fantastic trade, my man. That was an absolute W of a trade. Is Kamara a sell candidate? Why would Kamara be a sell candidate? Wait, Daniel, what happened? I'm confused. Didn't he come off of a 20-point week and then a 15-point week? I don't know why he would sell him unless there's something about his legal issues that may have arose in the last couple of days that I haven't heard about. That would be the only thing that kind of would bother me in that regard. Thomas says, what's the better package for Christian McCaffrey? Aaron Jones, Kamara, Hunt. Give up Judy and Eno or Amon-Ra and Jacobs? Hold up. So someone has the ability of giving you Christian McCaffrey and you have to wait. So you're going to give away Christian McCaffrey and Judy and Eno and get back Aaron Jones, Kamara, and Hunt. Or you could potentially get back in return Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Jacobs. If that's the case, Thomas, I am in the conventional wisdom tells me to take Aaron Jones and Kamara because they are who they are, and I know they're going to be perfectly fine rest of the season. I just am curious as to whether or not you need Amon-Ra St. Brown as a receiver. I'm curious as to whether or not you need the wide receiver position in specific. AJ Dillon, Dobbins, and Brian Robinson pick two. If I'm picking two right now, it's AJ Dillon and Brian Robinson. But again, could very easily change by tomorrow. But chances are, due to the Dobbins injury, he may not even be in my top 36 list tomorrow, which will give AJ Dillon and, of course, Robinson priority there. I need a defense. Eagles upcoming on a bye. Do I play the Jets? They are available after tonight. Yeah, I would absolutely think they're a lock after tonight's performance from Russell Wilson and the boys. So yeah, the Jets, pretty good defense. They're on a pretty big heater as of late. The last 3 games in a standard fantasy format, the Jets defense, 12 points, 9 points, 20 points. I'm all in for that. Would you trade Kenneth Walker for Waddle? Depends on what you have. In a vacuum, I would say that it is. In a vacuum, I would probably go Waddle in a full PPR. In a vacuum, I'd probably go Kenneth Walker half PPR, right? But it's just a matter of what you need first and foremost for your roster and what you have. Myers or Moore in the flex. I don't know what Moore is this. Is this Rondell Moore? If it's Rondell Moore and he plays on Thursday, would I rather play him than Myers this week? No, I think I'd rather just play Myers. I think I'd just rather play Myers there. All right, let me go ahead and scroll down a bit here. B-Rob or Pickens in the flex? Probably B-Rob this week. Might have missed it, Join the stream late. Thoughts on Williams rest of season? Which Williams? Are we talking about Michael Williams? Jared? Just for clarifying purposes, because I don't know. There's a lot of players out there. I just don't want to talk about someone that you weren't referring to. Hey, Andrew, a few trades to acquire a tight end. Christian McCaffrey for Andrews and Brian Robinson, or Henderson for Ertz. Love the channel. I mean, at this point, I'm willing to most likely do the Henderson for Ertz kind of deal. I think that is probably more enticing in my opinion, but then again, that's mainly because Henderson doesn't have an offensive line this year, and the Rams offense just looks terrible. And I like Christian McCaffrey. I want to keep him on roster. Traded Dameon Pierce for Swift earlier. Thoughts? I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's a W trade. Again, it's a matter of whether or not you have Jamal Williams as well, because Jamal Williams could be a factor if Swift gets hurt again. But if you can maybe go in and invest also by moving and getting Jamal Williams on your team, could be very helpful for you. Rico Baptiste says, what's the outlook on Terry with Wentz being out? I mean, what did Terry McLaurin do last year with Heineke? It wasn't good numbers. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. You know, the funny thing is that Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore have been the exact same guys that they have been for the last 4 years, and they haven't stopped. Really, for the last 4 consecutive years, they are the same player. They are in terrible offenses with terrible quarterbacks, and they get terrible production. And they try their very best. I can assure you they try their best, and they're very talented players. But unfortunately, it's a matter of circumstance that really does hold them down from their overall upside potential. And unfortunately, both of them signed massive deals with their own respective teams, which makes it tough because I don't know when the next time we're going to see some of these guys with really good quarterbacks under center. Maybe in a couple years when Aaron Rodgers wants to leave and Jordan Love takes over for the Green Bay Packers, we'll see Rodgers on the Commanders or Rodgers on the Panthers. I don't know. We'll see something like that. Maybe on the Buccaneers. You never know. Would you start Kareem Hunt or Darnell Mooney this week? I'd probably go with Kareem Hunt. How does Melvin Gordon steal touches from Javonte but can't steal touches from Latavius? San Marcos, that is a incredibly poignant question. And by all means, I do not even have an answer for you because I can't explain it. It is a legitimate anomaly. Not only was he stealing touches, bro, he was stealing 15 touches per week. He was getting targets. And now they're like, you know what? We're done. It's like, what the heck happened, man? What happened? Nady says, what about Curtis Samuel? I think Curtis Samuel is probably in a worse position. I think Curtis Samuel at this point could be even in the conversation of being dropped, but we can wait and see what Taylor Heineke is capable of this week against Green Bay and then make that decision in week 8. Justin Herbert or Dak rest of the season? I think Herbert will be better once, in fact, Keenan Allen is back, but I'm beginning to really open up to the idea of going Dak there. I am opening up to the idea. Can I confirm that yet? No, but I'm opening up to it. Rodgers or Tua next week? Rodgers against Washington, Tua against Pittsburgh? Give me Tua. Should I trade McLaurin for Dillon? If you don't need the wide receiver depth, sure. I'm okay with that because Dillon could always, again, it only takes one injury and Dillon's a top 5 guy. Legitimately. Give away Jacobs for D-Hop and CEH. I don't know if I want that, to be honest. I think I want to keep Jacobs there. Wan'Dale Robinson, a good pickup. I mean, listen, I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, Rico, just to kind of give you a little bit more of my thoughts on the matter. Kind of repeating what I said a little bit earlier, but again, for those of you, bear with me, who have heard this. The issue with Rondale Moore isn't, Wan'Dale Robinson. The issue with him mainly is that even if you're the number 1 overall wide receiver of the New York Jets offense, what does that really mean? That doesn't really mean much value in fantasy. It is a very underappreciated position in a run-first offense in a team that, again, if he's going to catch 4 or 5 passes, sure, he's going to be in a good position. But unless he scores a touchdown, we're not really thinking for much upside with Wan'Dale Robinson. Again, we know, the current head coach of the Giants, he was with the, he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills the last couple of years. He targeted Cole Beasley a lot. They want to use their slot receiver a lot, but Wan'Dale Robinson only played 24% of snaps. So yes, he is worth a flyer. He's just not a guy I'm picking up and playing. I can't do that with him yet. But he's a long-term investment. That's what I'll say. Let me go ahead. There was a couple donations sent in. I apologize if I didn't immediately answer. That's my bad. I didn't see these roll in here. Josh Helmuth said, I have Carson Wentz and I'm trying to get Mariota. But I'm last on the waivers. Also, I have Rashad White, I have Davis, I have Wilson. Worth stashing still, or should I ditch him? At this point, you need to for sure get Mariota. Rashad White is worth stashing. Wilson, is that Garrett Wilson? If that is Garrett Wilson, keep him. If it's Corey Davis, get rid of him. Retro fan says, let's go Brandon. Hashtag, okay. Who's Brandon? Brandon McManus? I don't know who Brandon is. Nick Graham says, here is the ad revenue you would have gotten from my league mates. Trust me, Nick, it would have been a lot more than the number, but I appreciate the thought that counts. Thank you. I appreciate that. Moving on. Josh Helmuth sent in another question. Says, could you rank 49ers, Tampa Bay, Jets, and Patriots defense? Josh, yes. One follow-up question. Is that in regards to the rest of the year, or is that in regards to just this week? If it's this week and we're just purely talking about defenses, I would venture to say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be number 1, and then Patriots number 2, Jets number 3, and then 49ers number 4 this week. But let me know if you're talking about rest of the season as well. Alfredo, Freddie, what's up? You know, the Chargers won. Congratulations. That's a tough fought victory, but we'll take it. It's another W in the column. That's 4-2. We're moving forward. Use the number 1 waiver on Drake. You have Henry, you have Kamara, you have Hunt, you have Eno, and you have Rashad White. I mean, at this point, Henry came off of the... Here's my thing. I'm going to probably say no, and this is why. Until we know by tomorrow what the extent of that knee injury is with Dobbins, I don't want to waste my number 1 overall waiver here, Freddie, mainly because I know there's a possibility that you could utilize it in future weeks with different running backs, maybe different scenarios. Because if you pick up Kenyon Drake, Dobbins plays anyway, Gus Edwards comes back, it's a waste of a waiver pickup, especially considering you don't need the player in this given week. So yeah, I would say let's pass on that, Freddie. You're not really in need of it. He's talking about Brandon Ayuk. Aha, that's what it is. That's what you said. Let's go, Brandon. There you go. I was about to say, I was like, what are we talking about? Thoughts on Robbie Anderson? Mario, yeah, I mentioned this in my waiver wire video earlier today. So you can check out those thoughts if you want to just pan over to the channel and check that out. But otherwise, I think he's probably going to be the number 4 receiving option in this offense behind D-Hop number 1, Ertz number 2, Rondale Moore number 3, Robbie Anderson 4. And then once Hollywood Brown comes back, it goes Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Ertz, Rondale Moore, then Robbie Anderson. Then he becomes the number 5. Am I interested in his value? No. I'd rather have Rondale Moore going forward. Does Waddle and Hill not bring up Tua's value? Yeah, he absolutely do. They absolutely do. The issue is, again, even though Tua has one massive game with incredible production, look at the rest of the games that he put forward this year. Not a lot of high upside outside of that one performance. Now, if he's going to do that every once in a while, that's incredible. That's great, but it's not enough expanded consistency. Hey, Andrew, would you trade Sutton for Mike Evans? Yes, I would. Goff or Mariota for week 7 and rest of season? Goff rest of season, Mariota this week. Thoughts on Jameson Williams' return? If he returns, I mean, I would expect if he is as advertised and the ACL has not hindered him too much, he would be putting up the numbers that Josh Reynolds has put up in the last 4 weeks, right? 10 plus points each of the last 4 weeks. That's what I would expect Jameson Williams to do, legitimately. That's why I've been mentioning him and banging the table for him for the last 3 weeks now, as a potential pickup and stash. Andrew, I traded Godwin/Hunt for JT and DPJ in a PPR league. My running backs are Aaron Jones, Zeke, Pierce, Latavius, Deion Jackson, and JT now. My wide receivers are that, and that. How'd I do? That's a great trade. I'm perfectly fine with it. Well done. Well done, honestly. He's talking about, okay, so we did that. Did you hear? Okay, didn't hear, but last thing, need a tight end bad. Got offered Mostert and, I almost said Monster. Mostert and Bateman for Jacoby and Schultz, but trying to get Godwin instead. You were offered Mostert and Bateman for, okay, so you're sending away Jacoby and Schultz, or because you said you need a tight end bad. So are you giving this away to get this? Schultz is not a tight end I'm trusting. I really do believe that knee injury is a problem. So I don't like the idea of getting Schultz. If it's the other end of the conversation, then sure. What are your thoughts on Aaron Jones? I think this is the perfect time to buy low. There has never been a time in Aaron Jones' career, okay, except for literally his rookie season. In the first 2 weeks, he was suspended. There's never been a more opportune time to trade for Aaron Jones, quite literally. Mike W, 1981. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that, Mike. Says, standard league trade question. Jalen Hurts and Breece Hall for Chubb and Russ. I have Saquon, I have Dylan, I have Jeff Wilson, I have Damian Harris. Leaning no. So someone's offering you Chubb and Russ, and you have Jalen Hurts and Breece Hall. You know, conventional wisdom would say, hey, let's take Nick Chubb because my goodness, is that a great opportunity? But the fact that you have to give away Hurts and you have to play Russ for the rest of the full year, that is also, in my opinion, leaning towards no. Because unless you have Dak Prescott on your bench and that's what's going to save your season in terms of replacing Russ, I would think it's a disaster to make that trade because Russ could be a legitimate liability to your team in comparison to Hurts and Hall balling out as status quo. Feed ETN. Dude, I was so... Okay, let me express to you guys the experience that I had on Sunday. I'm sitting there, and I obviously, I'm making some food after the stream, of course. Big man's got to eat over here. And I pan over, and I look, and I'm like, wait, there's a running back hauling down the sideline for the Jaguars, and it doesn't look like James Robinson because I know how James Robinson runs. I've been looking at the way he's been running. He's got a little bit more of a different stride in comparison to his rookie year because of the Achilles. I'm like, oh my God, it's got to be Travis Etienne. Jermichael Hasty? What? I mean, dude, the pain, the suffering, I mean, the anguish that I felt. The fact that Trevor Lawrence had 2 rushing touchdowns, the pain, the suffering, the anguish, it exists, it exudes for my energy. You can feel it. It's tough. Thoughts on Swift moving forward? Top 7 running back rest of the season. Is Pollard a good start versus Detroit? I think he could very easily be yes. Just lost by 1 point because of Judy. He could not get one more catch. Bruh, that's unfortunate. Sorry to hear about that, Giants in football. That's brutal. I really did think that Judy was going to play better today. He looked pretty good in the first half. Obviously disappeared in the second, mainly because Russell Wilson disappeared in the second. What do we do with Herbert in a Superflex format? You know what's funny, Gmo? I was listening to my brother complain about Herbert all throughout that game. There may be an issue here where, yes, Herbert could be a shell of himself in comparison. Maybe he's still dealing with a rib injury. But I think once, in fact, we do see Keenan Allen return, he'll be fine. So just give him one more week. Let's go ahead and obviously take into account the fact that, first and foremost, who do they play this week? They play against the Seahawks. Bro, I want to play him against the Seahawks. I think he could dice him up. So that's the way I'm leaning. Let's give him one more week here. 5.9 yards per carry. What are they doing? Are we talking about Aaron Jones? Is that who we're talking about? Because if that's who you're referring to, I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know what they're doing either. Listen, Aaron Jones typically, okay? Let me just put this in perspective. Aaron Jones has typically been inconsistent for fantasy purposes. There have been multiple occasions where he just does not score more than 10 points in a given season. But he had those massive performances of 30 or 20 or 75 or whatever. Monster games. I remember the game against the Cowboys a couple years back. 4 touchdowns in that game. You guys remember those monster 40-point games. Those games, balanced everything. We're not getting those explosive games. That's the problem. Yes, he's rushing at an all-time level in terms of his career, but where are the touchdowns? That is the difference maker. That is what wins fantasy championships, touchdowns, right? There's a reason why many of us last year who had Mixon, Taylor, Eckler won championships. The year before, there's a reason why many of us who had Kamara won championships, or Michael Thomas a couple years before that. Those are the difference makers, and because he's not finding it, man, that's tough. ETN 5.9. Ha! It's ETN 5.9. I went on a tangent with Aaron Jones. Man, Aaron Jones is pissing me off, but man, I still believe. ETN's at 5.9. Is he really? Dude, that is incredible. I can't believe they keep giving the rushing attempts to other backs. I can't believe this. anguish, pain. This makes my day worse, legitimately. Would you drop either DJ Moore or Mike Williams for Alec Pierce? Or keep them both and ride right now? I would go ahead and probably say we're keeping them both for sure. Mike Williams may have pissed you off, Roger, tonight, but trust me, he's got a lot more left in the tank. You saw from his earlier performances this year that he can be trusted. As for DJ Moore, let's hold on to him and let's hope that maybe he gets traded, all right? And then we'll kind of proceed with caution. Andrew, I need to make room on my bench. I have Curtis Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, Jacoby Myers, and Michael Gallup. If we need to make room on your bench, I'm probably dropping Curtis Samuel there, to be honest. Should I drop Jeff Wilson Jr. for a wide receiver? Should I trade Jeff Wilson and a wide receiver for Aaron Jones? I'd be willing to do so. Obviously, depends what that wide receiver is there, Rico. I'm starting Daniel Jones and either Mariota or Heineke next week in a Superflex. I would probably feel more comfortable playing Daniel Jones and Heineke this week in a Superflex Mariota and Heineke over Daniel Jones this week, probably. Drop CEH for ETN or Latavius Murray in a standard league. Oof, ETN, I want to trust ETN, but I mean, CEH is such a touchdown machine. It's kind of hard to drop him, especially in a standard format. I know he didn't score this last weekend, but I think he could going forward. Top tight end rest of season, excluding Mark what? Where was that question? Excluding Mark Andrews and Kelsey? I mean, let's think about this. Goddard, Kittle, I mean, in no particular order, but let's say, for example, I was going in some sort of order. Goddard, Kittle, Higbee, Waller, Ertz, Njoku, Pitts. Who are we missing? We're missing, that's 8, right? So that's 10 total. Boom. Something like that. That's Freiermuth would follow up at the back end there. And then we'd figure it out with the rest. Nathan says, well, I traded Breece Hall and Mike Williams for Saquon and Pittman. I have ETN and Hunt. Thoughts? Perfectly fine with that. No problem at all. Thoughts on Kamara this week? Start him, please. Start him. Let's go. He's going to be perfectly fine. Do not worry. Obviously, he's getting a lot of targets with Andy Dalton. Let's hope Andy Dalton starts again then, huh? Should I trade Aaron Jones for Kenneth Walker? Man. Probably not. I don't want to. I have so much hope that Aaron Jones figures it out. Pain. Yeah, pain. Absolute pain. Let's see here. My team gets a B+ because of the long-term... Wait, what is this? Okay, maybe... Okay, never mind. Let's see here. Is Devontae Adams getting suspended? Great question, Gabriel. I don't know. I know he's going to get fined, but a suspension would only be looming once, in fact, the investigation is already taken care of. And then after the investigation in terms of a assault case, I guess, is settled, the NFL, then they go in and they make their suggestion. Like, same thing with Deshaun Watson. You guys remember how they didn't suspend him until after Sue Robinson made her decision, right, as to what her suggestion was? They're going to wait. They're going to see what the authorities do, and then they're going to make their choice. Are we believing in Melvin Gordon? Maybe if Melvin Gordon gets traded to another team, yes. Let's think about this, okay? Can anybody think besides the Rams who needs a running back like desperately right now? Is there any other teams in the league that are in desperate need of a running back? Even if it's a committee situation. Like the Ravens? Maybe the Ravens are desperate? I don't know. Could get traded. That's all I'm saying. Top waiver wire add overall this week. Depends on what you need. I would probably say it's Latavius Murray right now. But outside of that, it's probably Rondale Moore, in my opinion. I'm 2-4, man. Should I panic? No. Listen, the only time I would legitimately panic is if you're 2-4 and you tell me, Andrew, this is a 12-team league and only 4 teams make the playoffs. At that point, I'd say your season's over, right? Because mathematically, it's difficult. But if you're playing in a 12-team league, 8 teams make playoffs. You're playing in a 10-team league, 6 teams make playoffs. I'm okay with it. You do not worry about 2-4, you know? Is Bass droppable on the bye? Yes. I 100% believe that Bass is droppable on the bye. That team does not kick enough field goals to justify holding him like Carlson. By the way, if you're listening to this, there's 400 of you in here. First and foremost, thank you guys for joining us on Monday night. I do appreciate you guys joining us and supporting the channel with your viewership. Also, if you guys could do me a favor, click that like button. Definitely does help out the channel a lot. If you guys have Daniel Carlson available on your waivers, I believe Daniel Carlson may be worth the number one waiver option. If you go look at how many points he's put up in the last 4 weeks, Daniel Carlson is maybe more valuable than Latavius Murray rest of the season. I swear. Look at his points, purely. The guy does that every week. Every effing week. He's been doing it since last year. That's why I'm so that's why I had him as my top kicker of the year. Like, legitimately, going into 2022, I drafted Daniel Carlson in a super flex league in July for my Scott Fishbowl league. I think I drafted him in the 11th round. Some crazy, I mean, they get bonus points there. Like, he got me 20 points last week. But anyway, Daniel Carlson's the real deal. He's the number one waiver if he's available. All right. Let me see some of these questions. Thoughts on Dobbins rest of the season? Very concerned, especially once Gus Edwards comes back. Very concerned, because also I'm not 100% sure as to what that injury is. If Marquise Hollywood-Brown is out for the season, which he's not, the tweet that I saw earlier today from Ian Rappaport said, and I quote, "After the MRI was conducted, it is not as bad as previously thought. It is not season ending, but he will have a stint of about 6 weeks to maybe 8 weeks on the injured reserve. So keep that in mind." Lakers 14 said, "I lost 4 straight with Mahomes, Hill, Higgins, Barkley, JT, Kirk, Lazard, and Njoku, San Francisco defense." I could see why, though. Higgins, 0-point week. Hill had a very underwhelming week. JT has not been active. Kirk has been off the reservation. I could see why. It's an incredible team. Don't get me wrong, Lakers 14, but going forward, you'll be fine. But I'm not surprised that you've lost 4 in a row, because these guys have just unfortunately been the bane of your existence in fantasy. What do we have here? Trade for Jonathan Taylor? Absolutely, Thomas Schaefer. Absolutely. Jared Goff or Dak Prescott rest season? Dak Prescott 1000%. I picked was the first person to go for kicker. I picked Tucker. I'm not upset. I mean, yeah, if Tucker's putting up points, I don't know. I don't have Tucker in any of my leagues because I don't like to draft kicker that early in normal leagues. Only when I get extra bonus points do I ever go after an early kicker. But yeah, I don't have any Tucker, so I don't know how well he's doing. Should I drop Mike Boone even though Melvin Gordon is injured? No. We talked about this earlier, James. Do not drop those prospects. Keep them until we figure out what's going on with that team. Jordy says, "Andrew, I have a crazy scenario. Let me know if it's worth it. Trade Lamar Jackson and Sutton for Aaron Rodgers and Derrick Henry, then flip Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook for Mahomes." So basically, effectively, you want to trade away Lamar Jackson, Sutton, and Dalvin Cook away to get back Henry and Mahomes? No, I'd probably just keep what you have. Give me Lamar, give me Cook, give me Sutton. Keep those 3, Jordy. Because when you break it out as to what you're giving and what you're getting, I think you're getting screwed a little bit there. Should I trade away Aaron Jones and A.J. Brown for Saquon? I think you're giving away too much there, my man. I'm going to be honest. Now, especially in a 14-team league, Blake, where there's not too much depth to be had, it could be really risky to make that kind of a move. Thoughts on Brandon Ayuk after his big game? Andy, my immediate thought is, can we see more of that, please? And luckily, they play against Kansas City, so we might very well see more of that. Fingers crossed. Let's see here. McPherson or Butker rest of the season? McPherson. Look to move from Dalvin Cook. They don't seem to prioritize the run or use him in the passing game in Minnesota. The passing game analysis, absolutely fine. Prioritizing him in the run, again, every game is different. You got to understand that the Miami defense is no joke in terms of stopping the run. I'm not willing to move on from him, but if you would like to, absolutely you can go for it. Last Thursday, guys, there was a thumbnail that had Josh Jacobs on it. I had my rest of season rankings on there. If you want to go and look at that list of running backs that I had available there, and you see someone that's ahead of Dalvin Cook that you could potentially acquire, you should go for it. Who should I try to get with Hendo? That's a good question. I don't know what you have on your team, JR. Can you afford to give a running back and not ask for one in return? Desperate at quarterback after watching these sorry Broncos. Do I trade Sutton and Burrow for Sutton for Burrow or Brady? At this point, if you don't need the wide receiver, I mean, I guess it's not a bad idea to go after Burrow, especially with T. Higgins healthy now finally. Cup rest of season should be fine. I mean, he's probably still top 2 wide receiver. Is Brian Robinson droppable? No. Why are we trolling? That's my only question. Gabe, okay, what are we doing? Okay. Should I drop Rachaad White for Kieran Williams? You can if you'd like to. I mean, if you don't have an injured reserve spot to put Kieran Williams there, then yeah, I don't mind the swap. I mean, I guess Rachaad White technically has more value, potentially, but you never know. Kieran Williams could be the starter in the future. Is CEH a fantasy bust? Listen, I've been saying that CEH has been a fantasy bust his entire career, so I'm not changing my mind on it. What team are you a fan of, Andrew? I mean, look, this is what I'll say, okay? I love fantasy football so much, and I love offensive players so much, literally all of them. I'm a fan of every single team in that regard, right? I can watch every single team succeed, and I'd be perfectly fine with it. I don't care that the Rams suck, and that's my primary team, along with the Chargers, right? But as of right now, obviously, I have a vested interest in the potential of the Rams. Maybe, you know, I mean, we won a championship. I don't care if we even make the playoffs this year. But the whole thing is, as of right now, this is what I'll express to you. Maybe this will give you a little bit of an indication as to how I feel. I would much rather my fantasy team play well than my actual regular team that I root for play well. That's where I'll die on that hill. Thank you. Thoughts on Sutton going forward? I think he'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. JC Jackson is no joke. Did I miss a question being answered? If so, sorry. Josh, let me get to your question. My bad. Okay, there were a couple more donations sent in. Let me go ahead and address these. So Mike, we took care of that one. Daniel Leone said, thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that donation. W Mike 1981 says, I also have Dak. Thanks, bro. So of the available options you have, because you have Dak already, I'm considering it now. Damn, you have Dak. Of course you have Dak. I literally said if you had Dak Prescott, maybe it makes sense to make that deal. At this point, I'm probably going to say just keep what you have. Let's not risk it right now. Let's just keep the hot hand. Josh Helmuth says, those defenses are rest of season. Thank you for answering my questions. No problem. Okay, so Josh, let's see here. Of the available that you had, rest of season, I would probably still lean in the direction of going Patriots number 1. Then I would go, I got to look into some of the injuries that the 49ers dealt with this last weekend, but 49ers most likely 2. Then I'd go with Jets 3, Tampa 4. Tampa just seems like a mess to me. Just both sides of the ball. Gunmai, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for the donation. Says, hi, Andrew. Trade Mike Williams for Amari Cooper. I'm 4-2. I'm not panicking like that. No, I'm not panicking at that level. I know Amari Cooper's playing very well. I just don't need to. I wouldn't do it. You can go for it. I wouldn't. Let me see here. Duvernay or more to replace Hollywood in my 12-team standard league. Fasty, let's go pick up somebody else, please. Because that's tough. Do you own a Harley? Says Aladdin. Why would you, what indication? This is what I'll tell you. What made you believe that? Was it the facial hair and the bald head? If that was what gave you the indication of that, I would say that no, I do not drive a Harley of any sort. I do not get on motorcycles. Have not, probably will not ever. So not sure what gave you the indication of that, but either way, I appreciate it. Thoughts on Darren Waller? Hopefully he's healthy. That's all I can say. Can you talk about Brett Maher for a second? Just general thoughts on the dog. Been a minute. Brett Maher? What's wrong with him? Did something happen? Listen, Brett Maher is going to be perfectly fine for fantasy purposes. Let's be honest. When Dak Prescott comes back and this team scores even more points and has more opportunities to score, we're good to go. Must have been the beard. Yeah, probably. I mean, listen, I'll take it as a compliment. If you think you think after I end my streams, I put on a leather jacket, put on some sunglasses, and I go out on my Harley, then that would be cool. But Yeah, no problem. Did you say Mariota week 7? But Goff rest of season? I did in fact say that. Yes. I know it doesn't help you, but that's in fact what I said. Was Surtain covering Mike today? Yes, he was. A lot of questionable non-calls there. A lot of PIs that should have been. Hi, bro. Just joined. Would you trade Henderson for Connor? Henderson for Connor. Yes, I would trade Henderson for Connor. I would. What do you think I can get for James Conner and Jeff Wilson? I mean, maybe you can get Najee Harris. Maybe you can get Aaron Jones. Maybe you can get, players that haven't played in a while. Maybe you could trade Jeff Wilson to get Michael Thomas. Thoughts? Maybe you can get Elijah Mitchell. You never know. Should I drop Khalil Herbert for Elijah Mitchell? Yes, you should, Rico. Hopkins wide receiver situation, bussin'. He's going to be fantastic. Top 12 rest of season upside. Upside. Not guarantee, but upside. Hawkinson or Njoku rest of season? Give me Njoku rest of season. Okay, a couple more donations were sent in. Corey Olson, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Who would you stream of the available tight ends? Knox, Conklin, Tunyon, or the tight end from the Giants. Also, Ingram is there. Corey, if we're talking about tight end, I still got to do a little bit more digging in terms of research. Haven't been able to get into any of that. I've still been watching games earlier today before the stream. But as of right now, if I had to pick one, it's most likely either Evan Ingram or Tunyon, based on just receptions alone. If I had to pick one, probably, I mean, legitimately, I probably lean towards Tunyon because he's at least getting more targets than anybody else in this conversation outside of Ingram. Evan sends in a donation. Thank you very much. Says 10-team PPR. What moves do I make? Rodgers, Dak, Mixon, Walker, Ryan Robinson, Henderson, Diggs, Lamb, Deontay, Terry, Pickens. Okay, let's see here. So Terry's got to be moved. Deontay will be fine with Mitchell Trubisky coming back. Lamb is fine. Diggs is fine. Brian Robinson's fine. Darrell Henderson's fine. Walker's fine. Mixon's fine. Dak's fine. Rodgers, you don't need, but you'll keep him for the bye week. Higbee and Evan Ingram are fine. I mean, quite frankly here, Evan, I don't think you need to make any rash decisions to make any moves. Now, of course, if someone's willing to give you Aaron Jones for Brian Robinson, I'm all in for it. Or Darrell Henderson or something like that. I'm all in on that idea. So if we can get away with something like that, by all means, let's do it. But outside of that, I think you're perfectly fine at where you sit. Oracle Zap says, started Wentz, but I'm 1-5 now. I need to help. Okay, let's see here. You have Carr, you have Davis, you have Metcalf, Alvin Kamara, Hall, Ertz, Gordon, McPherson, San Francisco defense, Olave, Damian Pierce. Okay, you got a really good team. I'm not even complaining here. If you play Carr, Gabriel Davis as your wide receiver 1, Olave as your wide receiver 2, Alvin Kamara as your running back 1, Hall as your RB2, play Damian Pierce as your RB3, play Ertz as your tight end, maybe even potentially look, if you have a second flex, to play Myers there or ET. I mean, dude, you got a massively stacked squad here. I'm not complaining here, Oracle. That's a really good looking team. Oliver says Brandon Cooks is trash. I mean, here's the thing. The statement as a whole is false, right? But I understand the frustration, okay? But the statement as a whole is just incorrect. Now, if you had rewritten this, Oliver, and you said, Brandon Cooks hasn't scored very many fantasy points, I'd say, yes, that's a true statement. But as for trash, he's not trash. Scale of 1 to 10 on your parallel parking skills, I would probably say I'm confident in a 7. I'm confident in a 7. I'm not going to say I'm the best. I'm not going to say I'm certainly not the worst. I'm going to say I'm confident with a 7. David Njoku or Darren Waller rest season. As of right now, it's Njoku, but I want to hope that Waller could, especially in a Josh McDaniels offense, get more utilization. So I would say if I had to pick one rest season, I'd rather have Darren Waller. Should I start ETN this week? We'll talk about that tomorrow. There's a video for that exact reason. Sutton sells me every damn week. How is that possible, Reezy? He's had pretty good weeks this season. If he sells you down the drain, then somebody else in reality is selling you down the drain, because he's been pretty good from weeks 1 through 5, honestly. What do you think about Jonathan Taylor rest season? I think he has top 5 running back upside, as he typically should. I mean, if the value of Deion Jackson from this last weekend doesn't give you more hope that Jonathan Taylor's coming to come back and put up 25 points per week, then I don't know what else can convince you. You know what I mean? Emmanuel Delgado, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I appreciate that. Says, who do I drop, Dak or Wilson? I have Allen. Who should I drop, Dak or Wilson? I drop Wilson. Yeah, I drop Wilson. Ryan Dominguez sent in a question, says, I'm currently 3-3 on the season and on the rise. Thanks for the content. A 10-team PPR league. We have Carr and Goff, McCaffrey, Hall, Jeff Wilson, Adams, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Waddle, Pittman, Myers, Hawkinson. Any moves I should make, or do I stay? At this current moment, I think Jeff Wilson Jr. needs to be moved off your team immediately. I think outside of that, nothing else is in jeopardy. Everything else is pretty solidified. So if you can move Wilson and you can pair him up with another one of these wide receivers, maybe move Michael Pittman Jr. off this hot week and go get a running back that is actually of pretty decent value, sheesh, I'd love to see that. Let's see here. What's your thoughts on Big Mike? Are we talking about Mike Williams or Big Mike McCarthy? Which one? I'm assuming you mean Big Mike Williams. Patrick Surtain is a good cornerback. End of statement. We move on to next week. They play against Seattle. He's going to devour that secondary. Would you drop Kareem Hunt for Elijah Mitchell? Can you not put Elijah Mitchell in your IR slot, G-Man? Because I don't want to drop Kareem Hunt, but if I have to, I will. I had Waddle on my bench and Jeff Wilson as my flex this week. I still won, but that 200-point week would have been beauty. Listen, Dale, this is what I'll tell you. The fact that Jeff Wilson played as bad as he did is just crazy to me. But the fact that we all got so lucky, for those of us who started, not only Tyreek Hill, but also Jalen Waddle, for those of us who got lucky enough to have seen, and it is sad to say, but I will preface, we never want to see injuries happen. But the fact that Skylar Thompson left the game and Teddy Bridgewater came in saved my fantasy week for multiple leagues, because Waddle went completely off, and then of course Tyreek Hill went off. So at this point, we never want to see it, but because it took place, it is what it is. Thank you very much, Ryan, for that generous donation, by the way. That was very nice of you to go ahead and send that in my direction. Definitely no need to send it, but I appreciate that, my man. Okay, G-Man said there's no IR. G-Man, who else do you have at running back? Jay says, should I trade Ramondre and Gabe Davis for Jonathan Taylor in a 12-team league? I'm 3-3. My other running backs are Kamara, Walker, and Dillon. My wide receivers are Chase, Pittman, Olave, and Devontae. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't mind that. I am perfectly fine taking Jonathan Taylor and going all the way, because I know Damian Harris returns eventually. And though Gabriel Davis will still be good rest of the season, I'm perfectly fine getting Jonathan Taylor. He is still the same guy. I'm telling you, he's still the same guy. Just give him some time, guys. Do you mean drop Jeff Wilson immediately? No, I don't. Wait, what are we talking about, Chris? In what context did I say it? Because honestly, I don't even remember what the question was as to what you're referring to. Drop kicker, grab Mitchell, stash IR, pick up kicker again. If that's what it takes, Dan, yes. Average Dan, if that's what it takes. What's up with James Robinson? He had a goal line carry. He was stuffed. One play later, QB sneak, and Trevor Lawrence scored. That's what happened. Unfortunate. Najee Harris versus Miami or Swift versus Dallas? Swift versus Dallas. I have Pitts and Njoku. Probably trying to trade Njoku, but not 100% sure yet. What do you think? I'm okay with that. Pitts is going to be fine. You can trade Njoku if you'd like. Especially considering, yeah, I'm fine with that. DK and Montgomery for Aaron Jones. I get Jones. If you don't need the wide receiver depth, I'd consider it. But it is risky. You know that. Drop Jeff Wilson for Murray and Kenyon Drake. Or Kenyon Drake. Oh, I don't know when Jeff... Look, here's the thing. Jeff Wilson could be very valuable in the next couple weeks. So if you make that swap, and then Elijah Mitchell has a setback, and Elijah Mitchell does not return, that could be a horrible mistake. So right now, I don't know if I want to make that commitment. What do you think about Kenneth Walker rest season? Very easily in the conversation of maybe catching up to that Breece Hall conversation of low-end RB1. Maybe. That's the upside, of course. If he gets there, my goodness, will he be a first-round pick next year in our fantasy drafts? Imagine that. But for right now, I would say we're probably in a position where he's probably in that like top 16 running back play for the rest of the season. Similar to like Dameon Pierce, you know what I mean? Trade Brandon Cooks or hold him. What can you even trade him for? That's the thing. You probably won't get much value in return. All right, guys. We've been here for a little while. I'm going to cut it short tonight. I want to go ahead and get a little bit of research done for tomorrow. I do appreciate you guys coming out. First waiver claim, Drake or Murray. I would probably use it on Murray. McLaurin, a top 10 wide receiver with Heineke? Unfortunately, no. Go look at what they did together last year. Wasn't anything close to that. Thoughts on Dawson Knox rest season? Very, very much so touchdown dependent, just like he was last year. Tua or Stafford rest of the season? Let's go Tua there. Can I drop all my Jets wide receivers? Yes, you may. Nathan, okay, doesn't matter. Are Pickens and Judy droppable? Pickens, not so much. Judy, we're getting close there, but not yet. Brian Robinson rest of the season, probably top 20 upside rest of the season, but probably will sit at the lower end of that conversation. Yes, thank you very much, guys. Listen, I need to go and get ready for tomorrow's video. There's a lot of research and there's a lot of video and film I need to watch for all of that. So once I go ahead and digest all of that, and then I can put together all my script for tomorrow, get everything ready to go. I do appreciate you. What does it say? Phone died. Is Edmonds droppable in a 10-team league? Pavi, at this point, if in fact if you're holding him just to be a handcuff, just in case an injury happens to Mostert, then you keep him. But if you're holding him to be an actual helpful player on a weekly basis, you can't rely upon him. All right, guys, I do appreciate you guys coming out today, supporting the channel. Again, if you guys are looking for some of your questions to be answered, we will be doing this once again Thursday night after the game. We'll also have a live stream Saturday and Sunday. So again, join us then. Tomorrow, running backs. Wednesday, wide receivers. Thursday, trade targets, potentially. I think we're going to do that. Yeah, trade targets. Friday, maybe hidden gems returns. Maybe the gauntlet is back. We'll talk about that as we get throughout the week. D-Hop, top 10 wide receiver next week? Yes, probably. But I do appreciate you guys coming through. Would you trade Aaron Jones and Sanders for Taylor? Yes, I would. I do appreciate y'all. Until next time, which will be tomorrow, hopefully, when you guys watch tomorrow's running back rankings video. I do appreciate y'all. Be sure to click the like button before you leave today. Also, check out Prize Picks if you guys haven't checked them out. There's a lot of fun to be had there. I'm actually curious, where the heck did I go wrong today? Let me see here. One moment, guys. If I go ahead and I do this, okay, we're cloning ourselves, then do this. Earlier today, I put together, I don't think I won my entry today. Of course, Judy. Of course. Of course. Judy. Bruh. Why? All right. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Judy's going to do that to me every now and then. I'll get used to it. I'm going to cue us out with the music. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. If I didn't get to your question, just comment down below, either in the waiver wire question. I'm sure someone's there to help you. Otherwise, we could talk about it on Thursday, or potentially go watch my waiver wire video from earlier today. That may give you a little bit of an indication as to where to go. I do appreciate y'all. Also, we have Patreon if those of you who are interested. Again, if you go and decide to travel to Prize Picks, use promo code Andrew. I'm sure you'll be better than I am in terms of picking together, more or less in terms of some of these numbers, and potentially winning some money for you guys. Check that out. Use promo code Andrew. Make a first-time deposit and get a first-time deposit match up to $100. All right, guys. We're cueing the music. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.